The stakes are going to get pretty high pretty fast if you're not prepared for this. You're going to see these questions come up a lot more, and every fumble is going to cost you thousands of dollars. So my goal is to get you to a point as quickly as possible that you're not fumbling. The deniers are the agents who are basically saying like, this will pass. Everything's going to return back to normal. This is not a big deal. Everybody's over exaggerating what's happening. I suppose that's possible, but my sense is that when the Department of Justice gets involved and multiple lawsuits are involved, and we're talking about structurally changing the way the business is done, this is probably not a blip on the radar. If our stance is that nothing is going to change and we're wrong, we've created an existential risk in our business. If our stance is that things are going to change significantly and we're wrong, we've not created threat. We've done some additional work that maybe we didn't need to. Not being prepared for a hurricane and having one is a catastrophic event. Being prepared for a hurricane and not having one just means you had to do extra work that was ultimately maybe not needed. I don't think it's going to serve you well to have one singular old school model to address what's coming. There is a big gap in most agent teams between the skill level of the lead agent / owner and the skill level of that next level of agents in the team. If you're in a spot where you're thinking, oh yeah, I got that. Oh yeah, I can handle that. Also be thinking about to what extent could your team members handle that as well as you can. Each of you have individual decisions to make. My goal is to guide you through some of that, to give you a framework, and then to send you off to make these decisions yourselves and with your teams. We all know that we perform our best when our mental strength is highest, our physical strength is highest, and our financial strength gives us a lot of runway to weather storms. Look back to a time where you feel like you were mentally stronger than you are right now. There's a classic truth in your habits or patterns that you're like, oh man, when I was doing this, I was in a much better spot. Very few people are good at self-accountability. If perhaps you are, then great, but understand that statistically you're not the norm. The big thing that delivers a knockout punch for a business is running out of cash. And instinctively, you'll know why, and that is if we put a deal under contract today, it's going to take us 60 days to get paid on it. If we went out and hustled our butts off today to generate new business, it's going to take us a few weeks, maybe even now a few months, depending on what's happening with listings in your market, for that to materialize into money. So you've got like 3 to 4 months to see the train coming before it hits you. There's a fair amount of friction for a buyer to go from, I think I want to buy a house, to I'm going to sign this contractual agreement with you that puts me on the hook for tens of thousands of dollars. Imagine that you said to someone, hey, client or prospect, I'm really good at blank. And they said, cool, prove it. Of all these different things that you're really good at, that you do really well, the skills that you have, what do you think are the ones that are the most important to the client? How is it that you do those things so well? What specific skills do you have? What specific training or experience do you have that allows you to say that you're good at that thing? At the end of all of this, the goal is someone has been in a consultation with us. We have explained the things that we're really good at. We have provided irrefutable evidence that we're really good at that. And when it's time to get the signed agreement and we're discussing our fee structure, they would think to themselves, man, I get all of that for this? Where I'm striving to improve our delivery on this is being prepared for some sort of objection. If you got that objection, how would you handle that? If you haven't had this happen yet, it's going to happen. And so how you're going to navigate that. Here's what we're going to do if option 1 plays out. Here's what we're going to do if option 2 plays out. Here's what we're going to do if option 3 plays out. Most of your competitors in your market are not doing any of this work right now. I do believe that where we're headed in our business is a really, really good place. And ultimately, where we're headed is a flight to quality where business professionalism becomes much more important than it is right now. The challenge that I think most aren't prepared for, though, is how long that flight to quality could take.